What's up, y'all? I'm sorry about that. I was here at 11:40, but it was another one of those days where I just started speaking and then I didn't realize that I wasn't live. But I'm live now. This is just going to be a pretty brief one. Couple of things. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had one of those time periods where several different things just happen to you back to back to back to back to back. Several difficult things happen to you back to back. And that has been what this particular time period has been like for me. It's like, okay, I have this issue um with my brakes with my car where the brakes give out. Then the very next day I'm in a car accident, and then I have this issue at work, and then I have this issue at home. It's just multiple different things happening. But with a positive mindset, you can get through anything. Um, Something that somebody told me a few years ago has stuck with me, and that is to maintain a mindset of just saying, this is not your season. Actually, they told this to me probably last year, or maybe like late 2022, when I was just struggling with a lot of different things that were happening. And they said, you know what? This is not your season, Mark. And I was like, this is not your season. And it was one of those things that I thought about for some time. It was one of those kind of thought provoking things. Like, this is not your season. Next season is going to be your season. So that is the way that I have started to look at life when I see that there's an avalanche of things. Hi, Cass. That's how I've started to look at life when there's an avalanche of things that are going wrong at the same time. Um, I used to be like, okay, something has to go right. I have to right the ship. I have to figure out how to get things back on the right track. Sometimes you can't do that because life is just lifing. Like, all the things that are happening right now are not things that were within my realm of control. I mean, could you say that I could have got my brakes checked out earlier? For sure. I could have got them checked out earlier, but at the same time, it was something where now I have a job that involves so much driving. So the typical time that I would have to change the brakes came much faster, and I didn't think about it. Hi, Lisa. I didn't think about it, so it was just kind of happenstance. The accident, the guy just drove into the back of my car. What can I do about that? I mean, that was literally 100% out of my control. It wasn't even something that I could have changed or avoided in any kind of way. Hi, Ed. Certain bills that have just come up out of nowhere, and certain personal situations that have happened. They're not things that I could avoid. So it just brings the statement of, don't try to steer the river in mind. Sometimes the river is just going to be there's going to be like stormy times where the river is going to take you all over the place, and the only thing that you are trying to do, your only one task or your only one job, is to try to weather the storm, because you cannot stop the storm. You cannot control the river. You can just sit there and try to make sure that your boat doesn't tip over. So that's a positive spin that I've been able to use in difficult times in life, such as now, where I'm like, you know what? This is not my season, or not even necessarily this is not my season, but this is not my season to thrive. This is not necessarily my season where a lot of good things are happening or I'm experiencing a lot of good luck or just things are just going well generally. This is a season where I'm weathering the storm, and there is going to come a season when the storm isn't there because I've had good times too. I had a run last year. Not even just last year. I had a run from like mid like summer of 2022 till February, March of last year, where I was like, things are going really good right now. There's just been a really long stretch where nothing has happened. There hasn't been any kind of emergencies in my life. My money's pretty good. My relationships with people are going well. Work is going pretty good. It was just a lot of good things. And I did have an awareness of just appreciating that particular season that I was in. But nothing is permanent in life, everything is temporary. Your goods are not going to last forever, and the bad things are not going to last forever. So just having an awareness of that helps you to get through the peaks and the valleys. Well, not necessarily, you're not getting through the peaks, but you know what I'm trying to say. You understand that the peaks aren't forever, so you enjoy them. And you understand that the valleys are not forever either. So you get through them. And I know that at some point, I can't predict when because I can't really predict life. I'm going to level out and I'm going to go back on the upswing. You are being bullied or are you the bully? That's the question. That's the real question of the day. Anyways, the other thing, that was the only thing I had to say about that. The one other thing that I was going to say before I hop off was that I am trying to create my own reality show. I've spoken about it with some people. I spoke about it with one of the people I mentioned it to actually is Kirsten from last season of Big Brother, and she was all for it. I have various different ideas. I'm not really going to share the ideas on here because people just steal your idea and run with it. But anyways, like a generic version of what I want to say is I was thinking of a type of show that is, first of all, the prize money would be fan funded. So I have a few different concepts that I'm putting together. One of them is basically, like I said, I'm giving a very generic version of this. Renting out a space, renting out a space, a house, or maybe even a loft, an apartment, I don't know. And having the show run for it's just gonna be like a 1 or possibly 2 days at the most type of thing, because obviously I don't have a CBS, Netflix, whatever other network, MTV. I don't have that kind of budget, but something that I could rent, some kind of house that I could rent. We have maybe about 10 guests and they do games just like we've seen on certain shows like The Challenge, like Survivor, Big Brother, like a mess. I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but mixture, that's not the word I was trying to think of, but I guess it works. Like a mixture of those games, of those challenges, and then have the people come in the house, compete, film that, and then the person who wins leaves with whatever prize that they're getting that day, and then it's something that I could put right on my YouTube page. It's not going to be something that is on some network or something. It's something that I just create myself, and then I do some casting work. We figure out a bunch of logistics out, and people can come to the area. It's not going to be something where I am flying everybody out and giving them hotel stays and giving them a stipend and all that. Everybody is going to have the understanding that it is a startup, but there will be some kind of prize for the winner. So I might even contribute to some of that myself, and then use the rest. The rest of the prize would be funding. And I've been thinking about this for a while. And the thing is, I've looked at shows, not necessarily the ones that have been out for a while, but especially the ones that have been coming out in recent years, like not reindeer games. I thought of that because of Ed just said that. Um, Not necessarily reindeer games, but yeah, reindeer games. That is kind of along the lines of what I'm thinking. What's the other ones? Like The Circle, The Mole, The Trust. All these shows have quite similar concepts, but there's one thing, to me, there's one thing that they're lacking that I think that I could bring to the table, because the reality TV that I grew up on was real TV. And what I mean by that is shows like The Real World and shows like well, basically a lot of these reality TV shows that you used to see. I'm not saying that they were 100%. People know they're on camera, of course, so it's going to be a little bit different than what you would see of them if they were just living their lives without a camera. But I've heard a lot about these present day shows, and I've heard a lot about how production, their hand is heavily into these shows. And then we don't know which parts are real and which parts are not, because they have these crazy contracts that don't allow people to say anything. And I know that to an extent, you have to protect your brand. So you can't just have people giving away all the production secrets, but it's like they can't say anything. When you watch all the different exit interviews, you're like, what did I really even learn from this? This didn't teach me anything that I didn't know before. So when I say the reality element to it, I want to do something where it's a lot more organic than the things that we're seeing. And obviously, the fact that it would be low budget would naturally make it more organic, because I wouldn't have a big team of people trying to create the product to look a certain way. I believe that if you make the game or the games interesting enough, entertaining enough, and you cast the right people, you don't have to have your hand involved in it as much as these people are doing in these present day shows. So that's pretty much it. Let the cast be the show. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying, Ed. Like, it's almost like nowadays when they make these shows, they cast the people. Yeah, they do. They watch the audition tapes and then they select the people that they want to select. But once they get them, they're steering them in a certain direction, or they're kind of influencing them to act a certain way. And I'm like, just trust your cast. Instead of trying to do all kinds of things, I think BB25 is a great example of that, because BB25, I don't think that there was a problem with the people that they cast. I think the problem was, man, they didn't give them enough to do in the house. The games were not entertaining enough. The HOH comps and the power veto comps for the most part were not good. There was so much downtime, and then on top of that, production was heavily, from what I've heard, like heavily telling them what to do. So it's like, trust your casting. Okay, you made this really good cast. Let's not make it gimmicky. Just let them do whatever they do and have that camera up for whatever those moments happen to be. And don't block out all this stuff. That's the other thing. I know that it's probably harder than what I'm making it sound, but I also don't think that it's something that I can't do, because a lot of these shows to me are not even original. Like, what's the huge difference between the Mole and the Traders? I know it's a little bit different, but to me, those are very similar concepts. I look at a show like The Trust, and I'm like, this is this is what's it called? Deal or No Deal, except with people living in a house. Like, this is Deal or No Deal if you took those people that were contestants on the game show and put them in a house and had them live together. Yeah, I said the same thing, Cass. That's exactly what I said yesterday. I mean, I'm not saying that the GOAT is bad, but I'm like, how did you really just put out House of Villains with a different name? It's the same show. Even the hosting, even the hosting is the same. It's not the same host, but he tells the same corny jokes. It's like the same kind of competition show parody. It has the same prize money of 200K. I mean, I was like, wow, this show is the same Z's. I mean, I'm not saying like it's entertaining enough, just like House of Villains. Like, House of Villains is a thing where if nothing else is on, because that's when House of Villains really came on. Big Brother had ended, the challenge I don't think was on at that time. There was not really too much going on, so I was like, this is okay. This is kind of a time filler for me, but I'm not sitting here looking at House of Villains like, oh, this is so original and so good. So you just took little elements of all the other shows that are already out and you made it. It's like this, what is it? The Scream movies. You know how there's horror movies and there's the Scream movies? Like, the Scream movies are horror movies, but they're horror movie parodies. That was essentially House of Villains to me, and that's what the GOAT is to me. You could plug Johnny Bananas and all those people from House of Villains right on that show, and they would be perfect for the show because it's the same show. Yeah, so that's what I'd like to do, and it's not something that's out of the question. I've been talking out all these ideas over the last week, especially, even though I've been thinking about it much longer than a week. You could even just you could do it outside, you could do parts of it outside. There's places that you can rent out for the day, or you could make it a thing where it's not even the whole day. Maybe you rent out a spot, you rent out a like an Airbnb, um, and you just have the people in there for the day. It's just a matter of getting the footage, and then you can break it down into different episodes. You can even have all the eliminations go on in the same day. Because I've learned that from shows like the Challenge All Stars. There's certain shows where people are like, I have a family, so, or like, I have family and obligations at home, so therefore I can't commit. excuse me, I can't commit to being away for 3 months. So they make the shows really condensed, and it's like they're there for 2 weeks, they're recording every day, but then they drag the footage out for 3 months. So it could be like a day, 1 day or 2 day of taping, and that could be extended, maybe like a month or two of episodes, maybe a month. It could probably be extended to a month of episodes. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was entertaining enough. It was like, yeah, that's so true. Like, to me, the games were lame and corny, but the drama in the house was interesting. Yeah, but anyways, that's all. That's all I got for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you would be interested in me doing something like that, and maybe if you'd even be interested in participating in something like that. And please make sure like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm actually gonna watch episode 3 of The GOAT because I only watched episode 1 and 2. 3 looked like it was really good. I mean, 3 looked like it was really dramatic with Davon, so I'm interested to see how that went. I was saving it specifically because of that. I'm like, episode 1 and 2 for me fell pretty flat for the most part. So I was like, let me save the really juicy episode for later. And later is now. And where I am at, it's 12:03 p.m. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and have a good night.